Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Headkrack After Hours, man. Yo, it's a dude's been putting in work in the business for a long time. He has a brand new project out right now called Glory. And yo, he's been putting in work, man. Ladies and gentlemen, one time for Tracey Lee, Esquire.
Salute.
I feel like it's important to put that extra respect on your name because there's a lot of people who put doctor in front of their name and they're not doctors. Like, you literally put the work in. You did the extra hours. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Long hours, son. Long hours, man.
Yo,
you no idea.
Grind, man. Yo,
Yeah.
so how have you been, especially like with 2020 being the year that it was? You know what I mean? Like, how's everything been in a Trey Lee household?
Oh man, it's an adjustment, man. But I these are the things that our people do. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been adjusting and making adjustments since we've been over here. So, we understand these are different times and these are different, difficult times for a lot of people too. And I'm very empathetic and sympathetic. But, we just like our people have always done, man, we roll with the punches, man. And, through all the hecticness, the hectic environment, and through all the turmoil and trials and tribulations, man, we keeping it pushing in the Lee household, man. That's all.
And here's the cool thing about the very Harvey Dent aspect of your life. Anybody watches, reads comics, Harvey Dent, Two-Face from Batman, like, you do what you do on the microphone, but you also have the law thing as a dope backup. And, a lot of people got ice cold during the COVID-19 lockdown because their hustles came to a complete halt. If you're an influencer or a party host, not doing much of that anymore, but the train kept rolling for you. So,
absolutely.
You planned well, whether you knew it or not.
And a lot of times not even the plan. A lot of times is improvisation. You know what I'm saying? And especially now, you definitely had to improvise. Like, there were a lot of people that were forced into, learning the technology. The technology was always there. Right. It's just that you had to adjust and get with the times now. You know what I mean? You had no choice. So, these are some of the things that we implemented into our everyday routine. You know what I mean?
Indeed. And what kind of law specifically do you specialize in?
Entertainment law. We kept it in the same ballpark, brother.
That's what's up. And there's so many people who could benefit from your expertise. No doubt. You know what I mean? Because these bad deals are running rampant.
Oh, man, they're gonna exist forever. It's just up to people like me, and even I'm gonna put the onus smack dab on the entertainer, on the artist, on the on air personality, if you will. This is your business, so you hire other people to do these certain things. But who has the best interest at stake? It should be you as being the entity in the business. So, to me, it was a natural progression, man. And a lot of times, you don't get the heads up because you're so anxious to want to just get on, if you will. So you don't really pay attention to the nuances of the contract and of the business dealings. But when you bump your head a couple times, like I did, you know what I'm saying? Some of us wake up. Some of us just keep it moving, or some of us fall by the wayside, you know what I'm saying? But I just took it upon myself because of the things that I've encountered. It's like, all right, cool. If you really want to be in this game, if you will, and you want to sustain for a minute, and for me, it's for a lifetime because this is my passion, then you must learn the business from all aspects. That's all.
Now, Tracey Lee, what is the toughest thing that you've learned, like, head on, directly, in your career, as far as the business, and oh my God, this is how it really works?
I would definitely, okay, so first and foremost, to have it directly related to me, when I got into this game, I did not hire an entertainment attorney. You know what I'm saying? I hired somebody that was recommended by somebody else because they were a lawyer. You understand what I'm saying? There's a big difference. You could be a corporate lawyer, you could be a family law, you could study family law and be a family attorney, divorce, handle divorce cases, things like that. But the nuances are different. The language is different. You know what I mean? When you may know the basics of a contract, but there's a difference between a business doing a partnership where you have, your contract with a partner as opposed to doing a record deal. The language is going to be totally different. So because I just hired a lawyer, he didn't understand the nuances and the languages of that particular record deal. And so because of my, I don't want to call it anxiety, it was anxiousness to get on, because you an MC like me, man. You've been doing this forever. We are the culture. You know what I'm saying? So it's like when you finally see that breakthrough, that you can finally get your music heard by people all around the world. It's like, I don't care what the deal says. You know what I mean? Just I'm trusting you as my lawyer, and I'm gonna sign it. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened, man.
Whoa. And the crazy thing is, like, now when you look at where we are in the music space now, the contracts written back then weren't even set up for what's going on right now. And there's so many people contracts that need to be relooked at and reorganized, because, like, hey, streaming was not a thing when, you know, some of your favorite artists dropped these classic albums. You know what I'm saying? You
That's
know,
right. We had physical copies. So there was a whole set of language dedicated to that. We start talking about packaging, and we start talking about, you know what I mean? Like, that doesn't exist anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we got to figure that out, man. And you have such an interesting story, because, like, you know, so many people, like, in my head, I always thought you was from DC, right? Because I don't know if you know, so I have a friend of mine. Well, actually, she used to be my boss. Do you know Shannon Henderson?
Yeah, I know the name, absolutely.
No, so she, you know, I used to work. That's how I got into the business. I was I came in as an intern. I started working under Shannon Henderson. She was my boss, and she used to always speak so highly of you. She's a Howard University graduate, and she used to always talk about, like, just like, you know, like how crazy Diddy was at the parties, and like, yo, Trey Lee's a good dude, da 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 da. So, you know, so I always placed you in DC in my head. But, you know, doing my research, oh, you were born in Buffalo.
Yes.
You know, which, like, at the time when you came out, it probably wasn't the coolest thing to say, hey, I'm from Buffalo, because they always treated anything outside of the New York 5 boroughs like you were not down.
Exactly.
But you actually grew up in Philly, right?
Exactly. So yeah, I was born in Buffalo. I was raised there for the first 5 years of my life. And then, you know, my mom moved around, you know what I'm saying, just trying to make a better life for me and her at the time. And then my sister came, you know, 14 years later. But then we ended up in Philly around 80, 81, 82, somewhere around it, about 82, I think. And then, you know, those were the prominent years. Those were the years, you know, those were the puberty years. Those were the teenage years. Those were the years that you really started, you know, you developed into basically who you are or who you're going to become. And so that's where, you know, the you know, I guess as far as being cut from the cloth of being an MC, that's where that came from. That came from, you know, just being in the street and listening to, you know, the greats like, you know, Jazzy Jeff and Cash Money and you know, all the, you know, the great DJs that we have in Philly. But then from an MC perspective, I remember, you know, walking up on Steady B asking to battle. I remember walking up on, you know, Fresh Prince. You know what I'm saying? Will Smith, yo, I want to battle, because they used to come to my school and do parties and DJ and MC at
What school did you go to?
I went to Girard College, which is a boarding school, you know, and the unique thing about Girard College is a boarding school that was developed for all white male orphans. Like back in the day, it was discovered by this cat named Stephen Girard. But then 1968 rolls around, the civil rights movement and all this other stuff. And so it converted, you know, they started letting us in. And so now the school is 90, I would say 98, 99% black, you know, and then it went from all males to now it's co-ed, you know what I'm saying? And so again, that whole dynamic of and this is right smack dab in the middle of North Philly. And so when you start talking about North Philly in the 80s, it was bananas.
Can we talk about how dangerous North Philly was? Just for a second. What is the worst thing, Tracey Lee, that has ever happened to you in North Philly?
Oh my, yo, cats used to get robbed at the bus stop trying to go, you know, because we used to get weekend passes to go home. You know what I'm saying? So you sitting at the bus stop, dog, you will get on that bus. You might get on the bus without your sneakers. You might get on that bus without whatever you had in your hand, without your clothes. I know somebody that walked back into the gate because we were surrounded by a wall. They walked back into the gate with nothing on.
Wow.
I seen it with my own two eyes. And so we used to always think, you know, the wall was to keep us from coming out. Nah, it was to keep you from coming in. You know what I'm saying? Because this place is right in the middle but now, you know, everything's been gentrified now, you know what I'm saying? But back then, it was bananas, man. It was tough. You know what I'm
Great,
saying?
man. Like, like I'm related to Joe Frazier, so I got mad family
Oh,
in
so
Philly,
you know what
right?
it is. You
Yeah.
know what
So
it is.
one time I went to go visit my cousin Maisie,
Yeah.
and I went down there for the Philadelphia Music Conference. My best friend came with me. Philly's a little different kind of cold. I had to get a different coat. He bought
Yeah.
his nice coat with him. And I was like, yo, man, you should probably get a coat like I got. Like that coat's really nice. Like it's a really nice coat, bro. I don't think you should. So we go to the Philadelphia Music Conference. We take the train to get down there. Then we take the train back. Then we
Yeah.
get off by we stopped at the train let us off by this Chinese restaurant. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, this looked like a real grimy spot, but the food looked like it might be actually pretty good. So, we go in there, we get the food, but when I go inside, I know the whole layout. Like, I'm from the Bronx, so my
You know
ESP
what it is.
goes crazy. Like,
That's right.
spider sense be tingling. It's like, yo, that's the stick man, that's the lookout,
That's
that's
right.
the muscle. I
That's
tell
right.
you what, I know we paid for our food, but listen, as soon as we walk out this door, let's just run, okay?
Yes.
Yo,
Yes.
we booked it, and we turned behind, and lo and behold, that they was getting chase, but we had so much of the drop on them that they just fell back.
That's
And
right.
I was only in Philly for 3 days at this point. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everybody think the north side of everything is always nicest. No, not in Philly back then.
Nah. And you from the hood, so you can go to any hood, and like you said, your spidey senses start tingling when you see certain things. So it's just like you got to keep your head on the swivel. You know what I mean? That's just where we come from.
So you sharpen your skills in Philly. So many dope MCs that came out of there, like, and people that should get more credit, like EST, 3 Times Dope, the Act Nicholas one,
Schoolie D, man, who really created the whole West Coast sound. Ask Ice-T, he'll tell you. Schoolie D created the West Coast sound back in the late 80s, man. That's where it developed from, and he's from Philly. So like you said, EST, like I already mentioned, Will Smith. People think Will Smith and think, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Nah, man. Let me tell you something about Will.
Run it.
Animal. He's an MC, people. He is and don't let the smooth taste fool you. This dude can go, period. You know what I mean?
Now I tell people all the time, if you want to hear some great like MCing and DJing, it was on the B side of their he's the DJ, I'm the rapper, the Live at Union Square. But to hear the full thing, like you only get a snippet of it on a tape, but to hear the full tape, and you can pull it up on YouTube, like MC.
Yes.
A DJ working like that, you don't get to see that much these days.
That's right, man. Facts.
So so from Philly to DC, you go.
Yeah.
So is this where you get discovered and where everything starts picking up from there?
Yes, but not initially. Like I went to Howard as soon as I graduated from Girard in 88. Went down to DC, went to Howard University, got accepted at Howard University. But it wasn't immediate. So we're talking about between 88 and 96. So the people that actually pulled me into the game, I went to school with. So you start talking about Derek. It starts with Derek D. Angeletti. D. Was at Howard before I was. He was there in 86. But he is the guy that is responsible for not only being my mentor to this day, but really tapping the others that I'm going to mention on the shoulder and letting them know, Trey can go, right? And how this happened is that I have other aspirations. Like I'm a sports fanatic as well. So, when I went to Howard, bypassing the dream that I had in high school of becoming a professional athlete, and I got accepted to a couple D2 schools for basketball, but because it wasn't D1, it was like, nah, I'm not doing that anymore. But I still had the passion. I went to become a sports broadcaster. I majored in broadcast journalism. And so I was like, okay, cool. Once I get to Howard, since I couldn't get the deal while I was in high school, I couldn't get that D1 scholarship when I was in high school because I had been shopping my tape and all that other stuff. It's like, I'm going to, become a broadcaster. And that only lasted for one semester. Even though I did get my degree in 4 years, I saw D-Dot on the yard and he was rhyming, and people that don't know who D-Dot is, he's the cat that's responsible for the Benjamins. I mean, you should know who Derek D. Angeletti is if you call yourself an avid hip hop historian, listener, blah, blah, blah. But he also was a part of a group called Two Kings in the Cipher. And so his chops came from MCing, you know what I mean? So I saw him rhyming on the yard with this cat named China Black. And I was like, immediately, like if you of the culture crack, you already know what it is, man. It just doesn't leave you. You can try to put it down. You can try to do something else. You can try to, you know what I mean, become a lawyer, you know what I'm saying? But the bars are always, they're always going to be there. So he just triggered something in me that said, no, Trey, you can't put that down. And so from that point on, you know, it was basically me picking his brain, him following up on, you know, what I'm doing, blah, blah, blah. And I continued to make songs. And then come 1996, after he, you know, has been up under other cats like Sean, Puff Daddy, Diddy, whatever you want to call him, Sean Combs, after he's, you know, worked with the likes of Mark Pitts, you know what I mean? He tapped Mark on the shoulder and said, yo, and both of them went to Howard. He tapped Mark on the shoulder after Mark got his deal, you know, with Universal from being an understudy of Sean Combs and also managing the late great notorious B.I.G. Yo, did you know Trey, you know, he spits? Like, did you know he has, you know, he got talent, he got bars, like he can go, right? And so Mark was like, yeah, I know Trey, but I didn't know he can go like that. So then, you know, Dot started giving, you know, Mark some tapes, you know what I'm saying? And so basically Mark was listening to the joints. And as he was listening to the joints, Big would be sitting in the car, right? Mm-hmm. Kind of, you know, basically giving me the stamp, you know what I'm saying? So not only is Mark getting it from Dot, but then Big is also giving me the stamp like, yo, your man is nice. So then I signed with, you know, Boston Universal Records in 1996, in April of 96. And, you know, just like that, the theme was on the airwaves in October of 1996. That's just how fast it happened. You know what I'm saying?
And to this day, like, it's just one of them joints that just feel good when it comes through your speakers. And I actually Shazammed the original sample one day because there's only two people who really wrote that beat. You and mysteriously Bushwick Bill.
Wow. Yeah. You know what? After I made the record, I forgot Bill had did that joint. Absolutely.
And like, y'all both had completely different pockets to how y'all attack the beat. You know what I'm saying? But like, yo, I still listen to both versions with the same enthusiasm as I did when I first heard it. But you know, an infectious party song will keep you alive forever, man. Like, and you fed our soul with that one. And you know, and not for nothing too, Many Faces was also a really solid project. I know a lot of people go to that song, they go to Keep Your Hands High because of the Big feature, but I mean, you're on a very short list of people, one, who even got the Big feature, which is dope, and which also brings us to your new work, Glory. Bro, like, you need to pick beats for everybody. Let's start there, Tracey Lee, because there's not a sour beat on there. Like, no.
Thank you, brother. Shout out to OJ's, man. OJ's on the track did every single he's actually done my last two projects. He did this one, and he did Expect Unexpected, which I put out last year in 2019. But nah, that's Jizz, man. Jizz that dude is a problem.
Don't ever lose his number. Nah. Because, like, I mean, the way your voice sits on top of it, because you always had a unique voice to me. And, like, and it's also regionally hard to detect, which makes it easier to, like, you know, show you out to everywhere. But, like, y'all synergy is on there, man. I mean, just unpacking some of the joints on the album. You know, let's talk about Glory. F who the best. I feel invincible. You know what I mean? Woo. You know, that's a mantra. There's a lot of people who, like, you know, are the underdogs and everything. And, you know, they talk about rap being a young man's game, but I feel like it is so important for people who are, you know, 30 plus, 40 plus to continue to drop music, because you don't get to hear their perspective so much in a mature music space.
Crack. Why do you think? Let me turn the tables. Why do you think that is? Because I feel like there are cats out here that are in this demo, meaning this age group, that got not only something to say, but can give it to you from a perspective that is so relative to where we are in life. So why is it that you think that those voices aren't heard enough?
The tricky part is, one, I'll start with radio programming. because there's a lot of people who at some point or another time either, you know, fall into that weird limbo where they say, oh, this artist is too old to get played on this station. And it don't be the DJs, it be the program directors and
Sure.
the people who are over the whole machine, because like I be getting into like real arguments about this shit because I care. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Like, and
Yes.
I am really in the trenches. I am not listening to always what's on the Billboard 100. I'm listening to people who are making dope music. And Trey, this new album, Glory, is a very dope album. Like, and this is no gas, no cap. You know, I was actually like, when I like realized that you can only listen to it on your website, I'm like, yo, why isn't this everywhere yet? You know, like people need to hear this. You know,
Soon come.
Okay.
There's a method to the madness, but yeah, soon come.
Totally understand. So, you know, it frustrates me because like our music is still the culture of hip hop is still so young to where for us to put people who have been doing this for quite some time in the corner the way we do, it is just like, why do we do each other so bad? Not only in music, but we also do it in fashion.
That's right.
We also do it in, you know, I mean, mostly music and fashion. But, you know, we're so quick to put people in the corner because they've been doing it for so long, but they don't respect the fact that people have been doing it longer, have the expertise. Like, Public Enemy just dropped a new album.
That's right.
And if you know, you know, they've been dropping actually albums just about every year.
That's right.
But they care this year because it's on Def Jam. It's solid.
That's right.
Arrested Development dropped this week. I didn't get a chance to hear it yet. Nappy Roots dropped this week. Jay-Z made better.
You schooling me. I gotta get up on that.
No, so like, I mean, so, you know, that demographic of people have something to say. And they're coming from a perspective where like you've been around the block a few times and you can help people who are listening to the music navigate things. There's so much that you talk about on this album that like, you know, sometimes like I categorize this type of music as taxpayer music. You know what
I like that. I love that. I love that.
Because like young people, like some of the younger artists, all you can tell me is what the new drugs are.
Right.
That's all you can do. You know what I mean? Like you haven't experienced certain levels of heartbreak. You haven't had a house foreclosed on you. You haven't had, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you haven't lost both of your parents yet. Maybe, I mean, you know, God willing, they're still in your life. But there's so many things that the longer you live, you have more and better stories to tell.
Man,
it ages well.
Man, and you really hit Dominion right on the head. Because I say it in the hook, you know what I'm saying? So many trips around the sun, the world becomes revealing. Like the longer you live in life, the more you will see, you know what I'm saying? So it's really giving you a depiction of everything that I, you know, not only everything that I've been through personally, but everything that I see, not only within my dominion, but even outside of my dominion, you know what I mean? Things that I can't control. So that's essentially what that record is. And it's true. But then the other part about that is that is it good? And it's subjective, but I think
the music,
the music, right. So you know, the older artists, you know, I hear a lot of us that are in our demographic say, you know, we have something to say, but I think at the very core of it, it still has to be entertaining. It still has to be good, solid work. You know what I'm saying? So are you just making records, or are you really continuing to own your craft? And so those are some of the things that I take pride in. You know what I mean? It's like it goes through, maybe not so with this particular album, because this particular album was really an out-of-body experience. But everything leading up to this album, it goes through so many channels within my brain before you actually hear it that I have to make sure that I am still A1 in what I'm doing. I can't be, you know, a B or C lister. Like I gotta be able to, and that's the ego and the MC in me as well as you. You know what I'm saying? You can't, if I'm gonna say something on the mic, it ain't gonna be, you know, that was cool. No, I'm trying to tear your head off. You see what I'm saying?
Every song on here, you know, and I got a little bit lighter towards the end, like when you get to records like, you know, Freedom and the Love Song, but every song on here, like when you tell me that, you know, like, you know, yo, you used to like, you know, go up to try to battle like the, you know, the Fresh Princes and the Steady B's.
Right.
You hear all of those years of expertise on the mic with a mastery that maybe you know, like even though you were nice when you first came out, but now with the years in, you have that mastery. I don't know why it erodes with some artists, you know what I mean? And then sometimes some artists, you know, who have been in it for a long time, they forget who they are and
Right.
they kind of make a schizophrenic project. You know, like there's some artists I love that I'm like, yo, why are you doing everybody else but you? You
Facts.
got you here, you know?
Facts.
You know, but there's more and more artists that are figuring it out now. And
Facts.
they're doing very sturdy and stable projects that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, fit where they are at this point in life. Because also I partially blame the fans too. Because
Oh,
like,
absolutely.
you know, you take a rapper like you know, two examples. I'll give you Raekwon when he
Yeah.
tried to grow up on y'all on a mobilarity. Y'all weren't here for it because he
Right.
wasn't, you know, like he wasn't in Gambino mode.
And he said that. And he actually said that. He said, "Okay, I see. Y'all wanted me to go back to that, even though I'm not doing that no more." You know what I'm saying? You're absolutely right. I ain't gonna cut you off, but
Yeah, no worries, man. But it's crazy how like fans want authenticity until you try to give them the realness, and they're like, "Well, we like you doing the old stuff." T.I., same thing. Every time T.I. try to give you a mature album, you want him to be trapping. Do you realize how disappointed I would be if I saw T.I. in an actual track right now? Like, I would be like, "Come on, bro! Like, why are we doing this?" Like, you know,
right,
so,
right.
so it is dope when, you know, artists like yourself, and even Rick Ross to a degree, even though he still raps about copious amounts of cocaine,
Sure.
but could still make mature, grown, taxpayer music.
That's
You
right.
know, that rocks though. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, you know, listen, I'd put you in the cipher with anybody in the BET Awards based off the quality of work you turned in on this project. For real,
Thank you,
for
brother.
real.
And you know, as again, if you're not an egotistical MC, then you shouldn't be an MC, in my opinion. It just is there's no room, and I'm talking about for what we know to be an MC. I'm not talking about the throw your hands in the air MC. I'm talking about the lyrical. If you have lyrical prowess and you're not egotistical with it, then there's to me you shouldn't even be in this space anymore. And I think that's what happens with a lot of cats that, as you say, erode. I don't think that the passion is there anymore, but and rightfully so, because they could be doing other things in their life that are more important. And I'm not to say that I'm not doing things that are important, but they are as important to me as what I think I've been sent here to do, and that's be a dope ass MC. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you're always gonna. To me, I have to. And the minute that I feel like it's not there, then that's when I stop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know, and same thing with comedy. I feel like it takes a high IQ to function at a high comedy level.
That's a great comparison.
You know, hip hop is the same way. And with you being a lawyer, obviously you're smart. You you
Mhm.
you have a mastery of the English language and you know how to use words like they money. So that goes a long way. And I want more people like, you know, I feel like we've been cheated out of not getting a Slick Rick album every 3 years.
Right.
Because he's
Right.
somebody like, yo, you have so many things to talk about. You were almost
Word.
deported.
Let us in. That's what I'm saying. I think that has a lot to do with it too, man. A lot of cats won't let you in. And I'll be honest with you, Crack, it took me a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is probably like, okay, so I did a song called On the Edge on Many Faces, which I definitely let you in. But that was coming from a younger perspective. But after that, I didn't really let people in because I didn't feel like, you know what I'm saying, like this wasn't TMZ. Like, I wasn't going to give you a behind the scenes look. I'm just going to give you skills. But
Yeah.
then you reach a certain point where it's like, okay, and I'm just talking to myself. It's like I could bar you to death. I really could. But how far does that take you? You know what I'm saying? Who are you actually reaching? What people are you talking to? You know what I'm saying? So it's like you gotta take it some, but be creative. You ain't gotta, you know what I'm saying? And that's the other part about it. You let people in, you expose who you are, but be creative with it. You can still flex your MC muscles too. You know what I'm saying? You can still put the flex on them with the metaphors and the similes and all that other stuff. But let people in with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a great example of somebody who did that, Trey, is you know, you look at Royce the 5'9".
Oh man, oh man.
Who's been
Bravo.
a monster the whole time. But now that he's letting us in, you know,
Bravo.
his last 3 albums, like, you know, now we know who you are. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and with this album, you know, you talk about a song like Saved, you know what I mean? Like, you
Yes.
know, I mean, tell us about a dark situation you feel like you made it out of, like, on a personal level.
Oh man, okay. So I'm gonna before I get to say, we got to go back to glory. When I say,
Right?
when you escape a point blank to the melon, you get praise for those who ain't allowed to tell it. Like I looked down the barrel of a gun. I had a gun pointed right directly between my eyeballs. You know what I'm saying? When you come out of those kind of situations, it's like, man, I ain't got no choice but to give praise, man, because just in a split second, I may not have been here to talk to you and have this interview. So we're going back to save, you know, being jammed up, and we're talking about in the climate we in now. I can take you back to 1989, 1990 when we got stopped in West Bumble, Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? And we out there within the hickest of the hick towns, you know what I'm saying, where we could, if they really wanted to put our body somewhere and not be found, that it really could have happened like that. We get stopped coming from New Orleans, headed back to my pop's house, who lived in Jackson, Mississippi at the time. You know what I'm saying? And so, we were over the speed limit, but they actually took my cousin out of the car, who wasn't even driving, because he was the biggest one in the car. And I couldn't understand it until later. It's like, okay, we're gonna make the big one the example. Matter of fact, it's kind of cold out here. We're gonna make him take his shirt off. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna put him up against the car, and me and my brother sitting in the back, like, yo, it could really go down right now.
How old were you at the time?
I was like 19 years old, man. I was like, this is after my freshman year in college. You know what I'm saying? So we going to New Orleans for New Year's. You know what I'm saying? Just to have a good time and all that other stuff. So we actually coming back. So we got to go, because my father lives in Jackson. We still got to travel through parts of Mississippi that weren't, that were not urban.
Yeah, almost like they talk about in Lovecraft Country, those sundown towns.
Exactly.
Drive through those when the sun is still out. Be clear when the sun is gone.
I mean, but the same thing happened in Jersey too. There's rural parts of Jersey that you don't want to be caught in. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Same thing happened there. I got thrown in the county, me and 5 of my partners. You know what I mean? Like after the Greek picnic, headed to I forget what beach was out there, but we did the Greek in Philly. We was going to the beach and got pulled over, got maced, all of that. You know what I'm saying? So, and again, I felt the need, and these are stories that I never expressed to anybody, but I felt the need, especially in the climate that we in, you know what I mean, presently, that I think people need to hear this. And I need to hear it just to understand that, yo, Trey, you have been able to, in the 50 years that you've been on this earth, been able to somehow, because it wasn't you, it was by grace that you have, been able to get out of these situations, unscathed, if you will. Maybe not psychologically, because I still remember these things, but physically, you know what I'm saying? Like, you still here, and you're here to talk about it. So why not make it a part of the testimony? You dig?
Big, I had no idea you were 50. That's crazy.
October 22nd.
Okay, well, happy early birthday, brother. Man, yo, man, and to still have a pen and a knife that sharp, it can be done. Long as you have passion and you respect the craft, it can be done.
It's not rocket science, Craig. You tell them again, man. Exactly.
Oh man, so many records to unpack here too, man. The old meters line in there, turning 25 to a Knicks without a hiccup.
Woo!
You strike me as a good kid. How long were you dabbling in that world?
Oh man, we're gonna say from 92 to about 95. From 92 to about 95. And the incident that turned my life around was the Jersey incident. You know what I'm saying? After they threw us in the county and we didn't know what was going on, and really it gave me some reflection. It gave me some, well, damn, is this where you want to end up, basically?
Right.
You know what I mean? And so after that, when I got out of there, it was like, I'm done. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you just need that one, sign to be like, all right, cool. The crazy thing, we'll probably approach a point in like about 10 years where like, hey, you could have had those Knicks and everything would have been good. We're
Right.
so close, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
look at the
Right. I mean, and the thing is, the other thing is that, and I talk about, this was in a whole nother rhyme, but I was like, essentially, man, we all come from the mud. If you look like us, we all come from the mud. Some of us are able to rinse the mud off. Some of us not so lucky. You know what I'm saying? So, we've all dabbled. I think a lot of us have dabbled. You know what I mean? And my dabbling was pretty much to pay for studio time. Was pretty much to be comfortable after I got out of college. You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't going to get a 9-to-5 at an office job and none of that stuff. So I parked car. I was a hustler. I parked cars. You know what I'm saying? I worked at grocery stores. I did whatever it was that wouldn't limit my time for me getting in the booth. You see what I'm saying?
Yo, and the hard work paid off, man. Like, I mean, you have two dope careers that you occupy and at the same time. You got a joint in there called The Love Song. What do you love more, Tracy? Studio to stage?
Ooh, that's a tough one, bro. I'm gonna. And the reason why it's tough is because I've recently developed a new passion for the studio, being as though that I've been in this house for the last 6 months. So I kind of have to engineer my vocals now. I sent it to OJ's, to doctor it up.
But, at the crib?
Yeah, exactly.
What you use, your Apollo Twin?
Here you go. You see
Okay.
when I got the Chaotica, what I'm saying? The Garage Band, you know what I'm saying? The Newman mic.
Vocals were recorded on Garage Band?
Garage Band, yo.
Mind blown. Like, because like Garage Band comes with the Mac, but I've only used it as a last ditch resort because I've just always been a Pro Tools guy. Like I got Mac only to run Pro Tools, but wow, because the vocals are sounding crispy. If anybody's watching this interview and haven't heard the album yet, be sure you go to Tracey Lee's website.
TraceyLeeMusic.com. TraceyLeeMusic.com. TraceyLeeMusic.com.
And the merch is fire too. Fire merch. My man got sneakers on there.
Oh, you saw that. You saw that. Yeah.
The butters, man. Support the pack. So cool. I mean, we're the masters of making much out of nothing. You know what I mean?
That's what I said. In these times, dog, we will always come out. I don't care when you can throw everything at us. We're going to come out. We adjust.
Every time, every single time. So I can't wait to see what this on-stage experience looks like once COVID is up. Like, I am having withdrawals. I'm trying to figure out what a virtual show looks like. And
you haven't seen one yet? You haven't seen
I've seen some, but I've seen some terrible examples of what a virtual show looks like. I want mine to tiny desk concert at least, you know what I'm saying? I need it at a certain, I want people to feel it, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen the best and worst of the
you got to check out Eric Roberson, man. He gives a dynamite. His virtual shows are bananas.
Yo, he was on Rejoice, correct?
Absolutely.
Yo, voice powerful.
Yeah.
Very soulful, man. Like, this album is a great balance of a lot of things. You want lyrics, you got it. You want stories, you got it. You want, things to pick yourself up to. Like, the song Thanos, I wrote my note. That's a song that, it's about bigging yourself up, man, and realizing how dope you are from within, man. We get kicked down all day, but to the point that we feel like we nothing. But sometimes you got to snap out of that, man.
That's right. And one of the things that I want to give you kudos for is that you noticed the transition in the album. It went from dark to light, you know what I'm saying? And so that was intentional, you know what I mean? Like, basically, we're going to show you darkness because you can't escape it. This is what it is. But understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel, you know what I'm saying? It's not always going to be dark, you know what I mean? That's just not how life works, in my opinion, you know what I'm saying? If you want to find light, that is. Now, you can keep it dark if you want, you know what I mean? That's on you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you definitely pulled the North Philadelphia ski mask back out for Sheesh.
Oh, yeah.
You finished strong. Cool.
It's a reminder. Yeah. Even though it's light, but just a reminder, it's still rocking out here.
You still get robbed outside of this church.
That's right. Absolutely.
Amazing, man. I need everybody to not only check out, this project, even if you start from the very beginning, go to Many Faces, even if you go backwards and go to the project that came out last year, refresh my memory.
Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected, and also Esquire the Revolution.
That's right. That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like, to the untrained eye, and I was asking Chuck D about this earlier, when I was interviewing him, you know, finding your audience in 2020.
Uh,
How hard is that? Because, people who, grew up listening when, your first single dropped, they have no reason to be on the blogs.
sure.
Maybe they're on social media, maybe they're not.
Yes.
So how are you connecting with new people in 2020, being that, hey, some of the people that you were reaching before a little bit out of reach?
And I'm glad you did this. This is why you give some of the dopest interviews, son. So basically, it hints on what we were talking, well, what we touched on earlier when you said, yo, why isn't this all over the place? Why isn't this, you know what I'm saying, basically on your streaming platform? So a part of the method to the madness is, in order for me to reach new people, it's like you can go at it two ways. You can just you can just cast a net, right? Big wide net,
Mm-hmm.
and then pull in and see what comes back. Or instead of working harder, work smarter, meaning use the voices that are already in your corner to help you get to the new. So that's the reason why we started off with TraceyLeeMusic.com, because at least I know therein lies the foundation. Therein lies those same people that have been rocking with me since 1996, 97. They're going to find where I got the music. So then, I mean, where the music is. So then once they get the music, then they can go tell somebody that either never heard of me,
Mm-hmm.
that's in their age bracket. 9 times out of 10, those people in that generation got kids now
Right.
that are either in college, fresh out of college, or teenagers or blah, blah, blah. They can put them on and say, yo, I understand what you're listening to, but listen to the cat that I was listening to back in the day that actually got some new work out. Boom, and put them on, because these are people that I would not have normally been able to reach because I don't know them personally. So then once you get that word out, then we put it out to the streaming platforms, blah blah blah. A couple of months later, it's still gonna be new, still gonna be fresh. Maybe not to the ears that originally got it, but for the masses, it's still gonna be brand new.
Oh,
And
this
so,
is still gonna slap 20 years from now. Like this,
oh, thank you,
this
brother.
timeless music, because it's not built on a gimmick. It's not built on a trend. It's built on life and reality. Like those things age well. You know.
Thank you, brother. So that is to me, that is the trick. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And I think there are a lot of people that want that instant gratification. And if it doesn't pop within the first week or the first month, then it's a failure. You know what I mean? Or, and so in order for me to get to the new audience, it has to be methodical to me. It just has to be, and you have to roll out certain things. Like we haven't shot a visual yet, right? Wait till the visuals come, because that's even a more effective way to get to the masses. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right now, we just working strictly on the music, and if the music is speaking like it is, then the visual ain't gonna do nothing but take it somewhere else. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Hey, yo, and I know this stuff is gonna look and sound marvelous, man. Yo, man, you're a wealth of information. There's so many places we could go, man. TraceyLeeMusic.com is the place you need to go to not only cop the music, but also cop the merch. I'm telling you, the kicks is fired. Like, I saw a red, black, and green combo joint that's gonna match a little bit of everything, especially
Yeah.
the power mode right now. We need that. We need that. I know people ask you this all the time about, like working with Biggie and whatnot. Y'all were in the studio at the same time, correct?
Oh, absolutely, and had a nice, extensive 8-9 hour conversation, man. I mean, he told me things about him. Of course, from the outside looking in, you're like, okay, it's big. He's a masterful MC. This dude is incredible, makes great. But he gave me some insight on how his brain was working and what his vision was in, as far as the music industry is concerned. He
Mm-hmm.
told me straight, like, look, once I'm done my obligation, I'm out. I'm already setting up, other things. You know what I'm saying? That was, part of the partnership with Undiaz, and that was, part of Brooklyn Mint, and that was a part of, the commission and all this other stuff. Like he was already, and a part of Junior Mafia. He was already setting up from an executive perspective, you know what I mean, before his, contractual obligations were finished, you know what I mean? So
And he did
Right.
that song in one take.
Well, what he did was he didn't do well. He did each frame in one take, so
Okay.
he framed it out because he wrote everything in his head.
Hmm.
So he didn't, go from beginning to end, spit it all the way down. But what he did was he broke it up, So he got the funk that I preach it, my nine reaches, the prestigious. All right, stop right there. Catch that, Willie said, what I'm saying? All and he broke. But the amazing thing to me back then, this was December 1996, is that I had never seen anybody do that without a pen and a pad. You see what I'm saying? Like you heard the stories after that. You heard the Jays and the
Yeah.
Lil Waynes and all these other people. But then it was almost unheard of because I'm sitting there cracked with the joint. And I'm like, the beats playing in the background, and we both, what I mean, blowing the medicinals and got the Hennessy on the table and all that. So I'm saying him indulge and all that, but I'm thinking, yo, where's your pen and
What
your
you gonna
pad?
write?
Are we wasting time in here? And he was like, no, chill, Trey, chill. So then again, he would black out. He would come into conversation, make cats laugh, blah, blah, blah. But then he would sit in the corner and just start, you just see him doing this. You just see him doing this. And I'm like, yo, and this had happened ever so often within that 8-hour frame, just blacking out, and then come back in, blacking out. I'm like, yo, what is he doing over there? Then all of a sudden he was like, yo, I'm ready. I said, ready for what? So I'm ready to get in a booth. I was like, where's your pen and your pad? So he's like, nah, I can't write it down. It confuses me. And I didn't understand what he was talking about. And then I finally figured it out. That pen and the pad was the middleman. You know what I'm saying? He's like, let it go from the source to the mic, as opposed to putting the middleman involved. Because now I got to read it off the paper. I can't give you the inflections that I want. I can't give you, like the emotion, all that kind of stuff, because I'm sitting up here trying to read it off the paper.
Mm-hmm.
So he essentially just cut the middleman out. And his style is so melodic, you can sing his lyrics. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was the beauty of Big. I call him the most efficient MC of all time for two reasons. He says more with less, and people consider him the greatest off of 2 albums.
Yeah. I was just having a conversation with my coworkers the other day. It's like, if we could have just got one more. The places he was going mentally, like the changes you were seeing happen in his life. You know what I mean? Like, another person who I feel like, like, what is the older perspective? What does 50-year-old Biggie rap about? Like, like, are you rapping about your grandbabies now? Like, where are we at with it? And even the universe in which it seemed like was being created, because, like, as all this is happening, I'm a kid. I'm like in high school, watching you guys do your thing, and it's like, okay, cool. So I guess Biggie got something to do with Boston Entertainment. So so Lee going, put some artists out, and then I feel like One Life to Live was also on Boston, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yo, them three.
Absolutely.
At one of the greatest live shows I have ever seen in my entire life. Yo, they opened up one night for Foxy Brown at a club I was at. I was too young to get in, but I got in, right? But yo, Red-Handed, Baby Blue, and I can't remember the third kid's name. But yo, so I was just waiting to see this whole world unfold. The commission.
That's that BX Connect. That's them. They're from the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Red-Handed. Shout out to them, man. Shout out to Baby Blue, man. They from the Bronx, right there.
Like I somehow got a boot because they never put that album out, and like somehow I got a bootleg
They had a snippet. They had a snippet though, because they was By Storm LaFace.
Yeah.
So after By Storm left Universal, they took it to LaFace and they came out on that joint. But they was, oh man.
And I was living off the snippet for a minute, but probably like a year or two later, when I got into the business, as I was like, like somehow I got the CD from somebody. I can't remember who, but I got the CD from somebody, and like it had some choice on there, man. I was hoping to see that turn into something, man.
Man, it was on the way. Actually, I was gonna open up for the Life After Death tour. You know what I'm saying? Before the Untimely Line. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if I, if ever told anybody this, but I was there that night because we were leaving out of the museum. Me and Big, we actually left out of the building at the same time. And he looked at me and he was like, "Yo, Trey, what's the problem?" And I said, "I don't know, man. Just something don't feel right." And he was like, "No, son. Cheer up, put a smile on your face. Da 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 da. We about to go to the Playboy Mansion for the after party. Da 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 da." And so I was like, All right, yeah. All right, cool, man. I appreciate that. You know what I'm saying? 5 minutes later, Mark gets the call. You know what I'm saying?
That is just, and it's one of those things. Like even when I watch the movie Notorious, I watch it with the same eyes of Scarface. It's like, yo, Tony, turn around.
Right,
Yo,
right,
yo, Biggie, don't get in the car, man. And it's just
right.
one of those things. Like it plays back again because I was like, I'm once again when all that happened, I was still young, and it was just like you never seen that happen before. You never
Nah,
like,
man.
what happened to Pac, what happened to Big. I mean,
Yeah.
EP's thing was tragic too.
Yes.
I'm glad that there's justice in the JMJ situation, but
Yes.
it was the first of many hip hop tragedies that would take place as time went by. And
Man.
it's like, but
Nipsey, Pop, Smoke. I mean, the list goes on and on, bro.
it is, man. But we live long enough. We have amazing stories to tell. You're telling an amazing one in a new project. It's called Glory. Go to TraceyLeeMusic.com. Download that. Support the grind, man. What's the largest shoe you have in the
We
the whole
male,
game?
female, big, off the scale, bro. We carry it all. Actually, they're all custom made, and they all ship to your door. So
Okay.
it's not like we have it in stock. Basically, you order from online. They make the shoe, they craft the shoe, and they send it right to your doorstep.
There it is, man. Well, yo, Tracey Lee, God bless, continue success. Much love
Appreciate
to you and your family, and thank you for continuing to feed us after all these years, brother.
Oh man, Crack, thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate it, man.
No
Absolutely.
doubt, man. One time, y'all, for Tracey Lee. Peace.